Vernon. In our house, there's a hierarchy. There's God, Jesus, a couple of our parents and family, Taylor Swift, Michael Jordan, and then Vernon Jackson.
Welcome to the Good News Showcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Dowdell. Join us as we shine a spotlight on the positive stories from around the world and within the special needs community. Okay, are we ready? Are we recording, Dev? Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Good News Showcast. Today we have Vernon Jackson with us. Vernon is the viral sensation out of Cincinnati, Ohio. He has gained a tremendous following with views at 30 million worldwide because of the public and financial sponsorship for the gifted event. Vernon is a two-time publishing author with his book, The Looking Glass, as a bestseller on Amazon. He is the owner of Noble Barbershop and Salon out of Corryville, where he hosts the Gifted Event, where special needs children can get the patience, empathy, accommodation, and understanding needed to receive the experience of an upstanding haircut. Appearing on the Jennifer Hudson Show is one of the many avenues that has opened, as well as a multitude of other opportunities and a substantial following. Vernon is a man of many hats, be it relationship advice, special needs accommodations, as well as peer relationships. Vernon is an owner, author, influencer, but most of all, a significant staple in the special needs community. Vernon, we are so excited to have you here. Welcome, welcome. This has been a long time coming. As you can see, also, I have as my co-host here for a minute, Jack. Jack, can you say hi?
Hi.
So let me just give you a little bit of background about how I came across your page. I found you through that video of yours that went viral with cute Ellis, the little boy with Down syndrome. And since
Ellison, yeah.
I have also connected with Ellis's mom. Is it Ellis or Ellison? Ellison. I want to make sure. Ellison. Okay. I want to make sure I'm saying it right. With Ellison's mom, I think her name is Julie. Is that correct? And we watched that video. We laughed. We smiled. And we just were in awe with the fact that you were able to bring him to a place of sitting through a haircut, because that is something that Jack struggled with for a really, really, really long time. And I think I told you in some messaging that I wouldn't even dare show video of what it used to look like cutting Jack's hair, because it took many of us just to hold him down, keep him in place. Jack, you didn't make it easy.
I know about hard.
You didn't make it easy. But then we saw you teaching Ellison to say stop, go. And I actually had Jack watch that video. And I said, Jack, this little boy Ellison has Down syndrome like you. I want you to watch this video. Look at how he's sitting through his haircuts. Our daughter had just graduated from cosmetology school. And so we thought maybe with her background with cutting hair, we could do this. And you know what? It was like magic. It worked, which was really cool, right, Jack?
Yeah, I went away. And I listened to Cash Out Flowers. My mom was in front of me.
Jack, are you afraid of haircuts anymore?
What?
Are you afraid of haircuts?
No, I got flowers with mom.
No, you're good with haircuts still, right? Okay, so Vernon, I'm sure other people have been inspired from your video. So let's talk about that. How has this changed your life since that video went viral?
Oh man, you know what? I guess first of all, I gotta say it's cool. It's cool to be here. All right, it's cool to be here. It's cool to be in front of y'all. Jack, he's a sensation. He's a cool kid. I love watching him. Seriously, I love watching your family's videos and whatnot. Your antics and outtakes. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, so honestly, like, the way it changed my life, things that you love, it's cool to see that the world loves it as well, and that the world receives and sees the person that people close to you who love you and that you've seen in yourself. Um, that has been one of the most like gratifying experiences as a human being from a human being perspective. Um, But on a professional end, it's grown my business. But those are all metrics that I really never really set out to really care about. I really enjoyed focusing on the aspect, the relationship that I have with the kids, and I wanted to make sure that I shared um, their story and their experience in the most purest way possible. So that had changed me in terms of like widening and making my heart open a lot more, because it's so beautiful to see a child transform and transition, and then also hearing how the stories of the kids and their haircut processes changing the hearts of a whole lot of people out there in the world as well.
I think that's so amazing because I just know from our own personal experience with haircuts for Jack and how hard it's been. I can only imagine what a gift you have been to these families and
Mm,
safe place for them to take their children and be able to experience a haircut in a place where they feel safe and they feel loved and there's no judgment, because I think a lot of parents, they don't want to go to the salon or to the barber because they're worried about what the other people in the salon are going to say or think about their child if there's some kind of
hmm
outburst or if they get uncomfortable. And I love how you have made this just a really safe place for these kids and these parents, and it's obvious that you love them, and I
Oh,
love watching that love, that connection that you have with these kids. What I'd love to go back and hear about is
I Hold gotta on. tell Vernon.
okay, go
In,
ahead.
in our
Okay,
house,
go
there's a
ahead.
hierarchy. There's God, Jesus, a couple of our parents and family, Taylor Swift, Michael Jordan, and then Vernon Jackson. And I'm telling you, you're up there for a reason. Our worst nightmare every month was cutting hair. And
Oh yeah, we would
shut
put it
up.
off for months because none of us wanted to do it. We would tell the kids, "Okay, guys, it's time to we're going to cut Jack's hair today," and they would all groan like, "Oh,
it
do we have to?"
Shut up.
oh
No way.
yes, yes.
No
I'm
way.
I'm sorry to put a few people above you, but that's pretty high on the list in our house. So I just wanted you to know.
Gosh. I was hoping to be at least above Taylor Swift, but I love her too, though, so I can't even get mad. I can't even get mad.
Hey, you're in good company if you like Taylor Swift. You know, we're big Swifties over here.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Kim says that we would prepare and talk to the kids and they're grown. We'd actually stop saying, "Hey, this week is going to be haircut. Get ready. This is haircut week." And
Right.
until we got that stop go method from that video. So, I mean, I'm being pretty extreme, but it's true. You turned one of the only negatives we had about Jack these days, um, his condition, and turned it into a positive for us. So I really appreciated that, man.
Wow, wow, man. Like, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's like it was crazy is I've learned on the job with them, and that was my first time telling a kid to ever do that,
Hmm.
to stop and go. And because I really try to be present with each child and see what it is that they need for their particular moment to help them get through, right? And I just and it did, and it stuck. And so to hear like how you all were able like to turn his haircut process into a positive experience. That is what that's all God, man. That's
No,
really like I tell people like God gave me the gift of the gifted event, and God took everything that I've like my whole life had me as Danu's son, and and God was Mr. Miyagi and had me wax on and wax off, and doing open mic shows, and doing spoken word events and volunteering with kids, and developing having an open heart to children in a multitude of ages, and be able to be present with them so that they even at church they used to call me the baby whisperer,
Mm.
because whenever they would have an issue with a child, before they would call upon their parents to come and get them, they would bring them to me. And so out of the whole like 7 years I have been doing it, only about 2 to 3 parents had to be called, and that was only because one was because we had to do it, and two were because the parents asked that if they cry, just let me know, I'll come and get them. You
That's so
know, and
sweet.
so
Everyone needs a friend
yeah,
like that at
right,
church, someone who will take their baby for them when they're
I want
crying.
you to come church with
yeah,
us, Vernon.
Yeah.
yo. And listen, y'all, and I loved it, and I loved it, and so like I never knew what moment, what tomorrow, I never knew what tomorrow moment God was building me for, because I was using my gifts and talents for something else. I would use my gift and talents for, for doing my poetry and writing my books. But God was like, good, you got that out, you did it for yourself, let me do this for the world. And that's how the reach has gotten with it and how it continues. Like even today, Holly Robinson Pete shared one of my videos and reposted it on her page, and because her son has autism.
Mm.
And so it's one of the things where it's like, man, like I really get to experience this, and then also on another side of that is to encourage people like yourself, like, no, like people need to see, what I'm saying, like what the reality is of your life when it comes to, like that's why I show the quote unquote ugly sides of the haircuts too, when
Right.
the kids aren't, like, easy to handle and to be with. They maybe do good one haircut, then the next day they don't give a dang. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta show that. I love showing that because people know, so they appreciate and they value the transformation that comes out of it. And so yeah, man, like for real, you
And
know.
one of the things that I love about this too is, okay, Jack has Down syndrome, and there's obviously certain facial features and that come along
Hmm.
with that diagnosis. So when people see Jack, they know that he has Down syndrome. Children who are autistic, for example, people looking at them would not know. And so
Hmm.
when a child who has autism maybe starts acting out in a way that
Yeah.
people wouldn't expect or are used to seeing, sometimes those kids can get that, that sideways glance from somebody like, oh, like what's going on? Why are
Hmm.
they acting out that way?
I'd never let my
And
kids do that.
and I think, you're
For real.
showing people that this is something that everybody needs to be open to and understanding. And I think that's what it's creating in the world, is by sharing these videos, is it's showing people like, hey, you know what, maybe someone who has these sensory sensitivities, you know there are other things about them that you can really love and that you can appreciate. And even though like they might get upset when they hear the noise of the buzzers or someone touching their head, there's so many other parts of their personality to love and appreciate and enjoy. And I love that you were talking about how God directed you down this path, because I think
Hmm.
that life is so much bigger than any of us even have an understanding of. And I love that you said that, because I feel like you were an answer to our prayers. For
Definitely.
years, we'd
Wow.
been praying, how can
Right.
we help Jack with these haircuts? And then, boom, your
Mm.
video popped up. And that was an answer to our
Mm.
prayers. And I feel like God put you in our path just so that we could watch that video and learn this process to help Jack with his haircuts. And it's been life changing. So what I really want to hear from you is like, how
Mm.
did this
Mm.
start? How did you start doing these haircuts? Have you been doing special needs haircuts for a long time, or just the last few years? How did all of this evolve
Mm.
with your business?
No, that's a great question. So when I first started cutting or doing kids, like, okay, here's this. As I told you before, when I was volunteering, that was another vibe. That was different, right? Because then I was tethered to um patience, love, and grace, right? That was the experience of volunteering with children. But in my business, that was a whole other story because I'm tethered to time and money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you know, let's be honest. Children, a lot of times for their first haircut, and they don't like haircuts, they aren't. They aren't fun to be around. Okay,
Hey, I
it
can
doesn't
testify to that. I
Yes,
matter.
know
we
what
know
that's
that.
like.
You know what I'm saying? They can be little jerks, man. I tell you, man. And so then it's like you have, then I had children with special needs, where a lot of
I
times the
lost him.
parents will book their kids' haircut.
Go. All right, here we go. So you've been telling us about your how you got started as a cosmetologist and how this led you to doing cuts for individuals with special needs.
Yeah. So,
Six times the charm.
so yeah, but it's a good practice moment. It's a good practice moment.
Yes.
So I ended up going to cosmetology school and I came out, but in that time I was always working with kids, and when it came to cutting hair, volunteering with kids in the church, it was easier for me because I was tethered to time and patience and sharing my love with them. Right? It was like, oh, this is great. But at work, it was hard because you know I almost like the doctor. They didn't want to come and see me, man. And so there's one thing. Then also when parents book their kids for haircuts, they were never specified before the haircut that their child had different needs.
Mm.
So now my 15-minute time slot where I'm trying to maximize my time to make the most money, I would end up running late because sometimes it would take like 15 to 20 minutes just to get the child into the chair,
Oh,
right?
I
And
believe that.
then I'm starting the haircut process, and it's going left.
Mm.
So I'll be backed up, and then a lot of times it'll be after school for them.
Mm.
So now after school, which is at the end of my day, I'm backed up at the end of my day,
Mhm.
and I'm getting up for work later. I'm fresh. I'm already tired at that time anyway.
Mhm.
So it was what it was. And so to fast forward to like after my content started going viral and people started hearing about it. One of the parents that I was cutting back then, she inboxed me. She said, "Vernon, I'm happy for what you've been doing and all the exposure you've been getting. You're doing great work, but me and my kids, we didn't get the same patience
Mm.
and the same experience when we were coming to you." And I was like, "You're right. Like you're right. Because back then I was doing my job, but right now I'm doing my mission."
Okay.
you know and that's and there's a very strong difference because and the hard part is that in a service being a service professional and a creative is being compensated for fully for our craft,
Mhm.
and that's one of the hardest things that we work up against. Like, yo, like, this is hard work. You feel entitled to get this service, but there's amount there's a price that should be aligned to that, and we couldn't do it. And so we gifted, what works so beautiful with it is that the value of my time
Mhm.
doesn't have to fall on any one person.
Right.
And so everybody can contribute at whatever capacity that they can, and it just takes care of the haircuts. So therefore I can fully be present and be with them as a volunteer,
Yeah.
but still being compensated fully for my time. So it works out all around, while also putting parents and families in a position where they've been giving so much of themselves, to love on a child, to create a level of normalcy for them, and that type of thing, and put them into the position to have to receive, and say, like, no, you get the, you don't have to get, no, it doesn't cost you anything. Receive it, right?
Hmm.
And there's been so many parents that burst into tears, you know what I'm saying? Um and that type of thing. So that's really been like the coolest part about it.
Now, Vernon, when she wrote to you and this made an impact, and we kind of
Mhm.
thought the process, how long had you been cutting your hair at that point?
Uh but what we're doing, the gifted program.
It sounded like a client wrote to you and said, "Hey, I love I see what you're doing, but it's not the same experience we're getting." And this is when you created the gifted. How long into this career of you cutting hair does this happen? Right away or
Uh
years?
well, so throughout my career, I've been licensed as of this year for 21
Mm.
years.
Okay.
And but cutting, especially these kids, that's part of the process, right?
Right.
Because people want to bring, because all people know, like, my kid need a haircut, I'm taking him to a barbershop or a salon. That's what I'm going to do. So that it's always been there, but in terms of doing it intentionally
Okay.
as a gifted event, it's been about it'd be 3 years. August, the third Monday in August.
Now,
Yeah,
when you're going through cosmetology school and you're learning this, was there ever a conversation, an hour, anything on kids or adults with sensitivity issues?
never, and that's why I created my online course because just kind of like detailing my techniques and what's going on behind them and whatnot, and then speaking into the parents or whatever because I want to go into places like Great Clips and Supercuts and all these other salons and barbershops that want to bring me in to talk to their staff. Because I get a lot of clients that I worked at Great Clips and Supercuts and all of them, and there is no training about that. And honestly, a lot of times, they don't have, I mean, they're structured to bring in stylists to create a efficient place to get a haircut and to keep it moving forward,
Yeah.
right? And so they make that since their price point is what it is, they make their money via volume
Mhm.
and the experience is like, well, listen, you can't be, they tell their people you can't be spending 30 minutes on a child,
Right.
right? And so um, and for their model of business, I get their why, I get what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that but what I want to do is want to be able to talk to them about either creating a space for it, a particular time about it, and also teaching their staff proper techniques that can possibly help them out.
And you're able to do this through the organization, the Gifted organization.
Yeah, so Gifted Alliance. That's my nonprofit.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Now, if somebody wanted to
Yeah.
see this on nonprofit, where could they go to see it?
So I said again.
If somebody wanted to donate, they wanted to visit, read more about it, what could they do to find out more?
So right now, a lot of my content or the bulk of information is at thegiftedevent.com.
So are you
You
still
know,
cutting hair for non-special needs also, or have you turned to where
yeah.
most of your focus is on the special needs community?
Yeah, no, like I still do adult clients and non-special needs kids and yeah, I do the gambit.
Do you
I
do
really do.
women's hair?
Not any, not anymore.
Not anymore.
I
You
cut.
used to.
I subtract. I don't add. I
So you're not. So
don't.
you don't
You know.
specialize in blondes. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, not at all. Listen, when it came to learning color, I was like, get this away from me. Okay, get this away. I love the results, but when you start trying to mix the stuff, the proper powder and everything like that, then you gotta do the processing time. You gotta check it, make sure they over process and stuff,
Okay,
and
I was
then
just
you
thinking
know what I'm
maybe when I
saying?
come visit, you can cut Jack's hair and you can do my hair too. But we'll just stick with
Oh
Jack.
no, 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 no! You would not go back home and somebody say, "What happened to your hair?" Okay, no, no.
So I want to hear from you. What would you say is your most memorable, um, maybe most memorable story or interaction that you've had with a client?
Then there's Kenta. Kenta, like the Asian young man that's on my page right now. That's his content is going viral. Also,
Mm,
um, he's like his mom, little Asian woman.
Oh, okay. I saw this one.
You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
Yeah, little Asian woman. She you know she had been cutting his hair since he was 5 years old
mhm,
because they had a traumatic haircut experience, right? And so he turned 18 last year, and his dream was to get a haircut inside a barbershop.
hmm,
And so and that's what the whole experience came out of it.
hmm.
And so seeing him be able to and so he leaves me in tears all the time.
Yeah.
All right, I was talking to one of my clients and friends we was out for drinks yesterday, and I was kind of giving him the backstory to him, and we're both in tears at the dang on restaurant.
He's the one that's kind of nonverbal. Spoke to you through like an iPad.
Correct.
When you started crying, I started crying too. So I mean, I wasn't out with beers with you, but that's what I was bawling. I was like, why am I
Yo,
bawling watching this?
ugly cry, bro. Ugly. You see my face? I turn red, man. I turn red. My face get oily out of nowhere and everything. Man, I can't look cute and I cry. There's no way.
I love
You
how
know?
you also recently posted, I mean, occasionally, you'll share what it is that these kids are teaching you.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll say it's all about
Mhm.
God, it's all about these kids and what God is teaching me through them. And I feel like recently you shared a comment, someone said something like, "Oh man, like good for you that you can deal with these kids." And you responded by saying, "Man, I am not dealing with anything. I feel like it's a blessing that I get to learn from them and that I get to interact with them and to be around them." And I love that you are changing people's mindset around this, because this is really important. There
Mhm.
are so many kids today who struggle with these things, and just kind of normalizing it for those of us who do have children with special needs. I think that that is really important.
And I got a question on that, normalizing it for you, Vernon, because I'm sure
Mhm.
you run into what we run into. Maybe you're out with some friends and they're like, Vernon, why don't these kids just sit down and have you cut it like normal kids? I mean, I don't understand. Why can't they? What would you say to them?
It's good. That's a great thing to ask, right? And so I just had a parent for the first time come over to on Wednesday, and he was like, man, like I was online and I put a Facebook post up and you had like 18 people had tagged you. Now I see why, And he's like, man, like you're, um, he doesn't sit still. He doesn't like, no one. He starts going through that process. I'm like, sir, I said, listen, what are you terrified of? He says heights.
Mhm.
He said heights, right?
Mhm.
Take a roller coaster. You know how your anxiety goes through the roof when you
Yeah.
go and try to get on that roller coaster, right? Like you would do because you're a big guy, you want to be strong, whatnot, but you're going through the roof, man.
Mhm.
Like I'm like, but the se- so when you get onto the roller coaster, you're going nuts in your head and you're going in your experience. But when it slows down, you like when it's something in like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I'm like the same anxiety that you feel, or you're claustrophobic and someone try to put you into a closet,
Mhm.
even if it's to save your life, you don't want to be in there, and how you will fight back. They just don't give a dang, and they're gonna fight back, and they're doing what's right.
Right.
If people fall back the way autistic kids fight back, or children with different needs fight back when it comes to being made to do what they don't want to do,
Right. Because it becomes
things will be
fight or
different.
flight mode for them.
Yeah. And I get it. I'm like, of course. Like, we like, listen, you trying to make me do what I don't want to do?
Yeah.
Like, not just not want to do, not just not want to do. Like
I'm terrified
the
to do
feeling,
it.
and they all
Yes.
they all feel the same. The sensitivity, the sound. They're all. That's what I show. Like each kid, they have the same response when the tremor get by their ear, when they get by their neck, or things of that nature. They're so like, yo, no, like they're not acting. They're really they don't like how it feels,
They don't like how it
and
feels. They
it's
don't like how it sounds. And it's not always just even the sound of the clippers, but it will be like just touching their head.
Head,
Their head is
just
really
the skin on their
sensitive,
head.
just the skin on their head, or the moving up and down in the chair can be scary. We've shared some of Jack's haircuts on our page,
hmm
and, we had some comments that said things like, well, why would you make him get his haircut? If he doesn't like haircuts, why would you make him get his haircut?
yeah,
And I'm like, what about not clipping his fingernails? Would I never clip his fingernails? Like he deserves to look
yeah,
well groomed and handsome and have his hair done just like anybody else. But also, this is a process for him that he needs to learn and grow in as well. And we're trying to help him as his parents be able to adjust to getting haircuts.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's other parents that feel that way too.
I think I saw that comment too. I DM'd her and let her have it. I don't know. I don't remember, but I know I did something for real. Like that was great. I
There's
hate
times
that. Like
before
what? Like
I'm
what
like,
do you
I'll
like?
leave it up
What?
to my followers. They can comment on something
Yeah,
back. I'm just gonna
but
ignore
yeah.
it.
Listen, I love it when the followers become like white blood cells.
Yeah.
All right, they are swarmers. Now I see how Beyonce feels. I see the
And we just get a
beehives they
small
come out.
taste of it too. I mean, we don't even have the same amount of followers that Beyonce has, but you do appreciate celebrities in their lives a little bit more, when they have these negative comments that come into their life. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, that's so fun.
Oh,
It was
crazy.
interesting. You commented. I think it was the not the one with the cute Asian mom with the son. His his dream or his big want at 18 was to come visit you. It wasn't to go get Taylor Swift tickets, Vernon. So you're above Taylor
No,
Swift on
no.
this one. I just wanted you to know that.
I'll
Oh
tell
my
you a
goodness.
story about
Oh,
Jack that I think you'll probably get a kick out of. But so, I mean, it's not even just haircuts, but sometimes when he doesn't want to do something, he's very adamant about it. And he thinks that he's a grown up. He thinks that he can stay home by himself, but obviously he can't. So when he doesn't have
yeah.
anybody home to be with him and we've got to go somewhere, he's coming with us. And he was on his iPad one day and we were like, okay, Jack, we're going to leave the house. Turn off your iPad. We're going to go. And we'd given him several warnings, and he just was like very stubborn, which you've probably experienced that with a lot of these kids. They are stubborn and they will
Yes.
stand, in their place and do what they want. And it's really hard to convince them otherwise. And anyway, so finally we're like, okay, Devin's like, I've given you your chance, Jack. It's time to go. Give me your iPad. And boom, he kicks him right where it counts. And he kicked him hard. And in the car and one thing with Jack is on like he picks up on potty talk and like foul language really fast. Like crudity, he doesn't
Of,
forget it.
of
And so
course.
we have to be
Of
really
course.
careful with the words that we choose to say in front
Yes.
of him, because he would use them over and over and over again. So Devin gets in the car and he's like, "What's wrong, Dad?" And he's like, "Jack." And he's trying to think of how to say it or what to say. And he's like, "You kicked me in the gonads." And Jack's like, he'd never heard that word. Gonads? Gonads. And, like laughing.
And
And for the rest of the night,
he said that's a funny word.
yeah, that's a funny word. So now all we hear is like gonads. Gonads this, gonads that.
Oh
We're like,
my.
well, if it was going to be a word that he was going to, use over and over again, at least that's not like the most crude word that he could use. But then I was like, "Your gonads okay, Dad?"
I've been beat up, Vernon. I just
Oh.
wanted you to know I share your
Oh my
your
goodness.
pain, man.
Listen. Yo, they kick Swift, man. They listen.
Comes
They
out of
they are
nowhere
some kickers
sometimes.
and punchers. Yo, man, listen. And Ellison he's never hit me, but that's stubborn, man.
Mm-hmm.
He want to be stubborn. I'm like, yo, it was a period. It was one video I posted my two haircuts ago in his, and he was just like,
Yeah, he wasn't into it that day.
I put the cape on. He was like, the cape off. I'm like, what are you doing? And so he goes outside. So you want to fight me, man?
Yeah, he was testing
Like
you.
you want? Oh, you want? So when he saw me swell up, he was like, "No, I don't want to do. No, no." I'm like, "All right, then. All right, I'll beat you up, dad here or not. All right,
Well, and that's what these kids,
I
I
put
think,
him in his
is
belly
important for
button.
them to learn is that they have to learn that they're not in charge all the time. This is a hard thing for them. That's why they need the structure. That's why they need the routine. That's why I think going to you for these cuts is so important because you provide that structure and routine for them in that
Hmm.
environment of cutting their hair. Whereas, like any other stylist who
Yeah,
maybe hasn't experienced cutting someone's hair who has those sensory sensitivities would be like, oh my gosh, what is this? I don't know how to do this. But you have made it like a structure of a routine for them, and so when they come in to see
hmm,
you, they know what to expect. And that takes a little bit of the fear aspect out of it for them, which I think is
yeah,
really nice.
yeah.
Vernon, I
And
wanted to say,
even for,
oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, even with the parents having to tell them like yo, like this like you are. Yeah, look at this as an experiment also.
Mm-hmm,
Like, don't feel as if you get to have all the answers.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But don't be a pushover either. You know what I'm saying? Pick your battles. Okay, let them win one. Okay, cool, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But don't let them, push you over. But in my shop, no, I'm king. no,
And
chill
that's why they
out.
need to come to you
Nah.
because
Yes.
it is so easy as a parent of a child who has special needs to enable them, to be like,
Hmm.
oh, you're scared, you're sad, you're crying. Oh, I can't stand to watch you cry. Like, okay, like let's not do this because I just can't stand watching you cry or watching you be upset. And so it's so nice to take them into someone who's
Oh,
like, hey, I'm not I'm not your mom. I don't have to enable your behavior. I'm going to teach you how we're going to do this and we're going to do it and you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay.
Kim, let me tell you that before you start. Let me say this, okay? Let me just say this one thing, okay? I had one parent. Look at my face. I had one parent, right? So the little boy came in. He's a handsome little man, for real cool, but he didn't want to use the clippers.
Mm.
He didn't want to use the clippers, right? And mom was like, if he doesn't want to do it, don't let him do it. I'm like, at my heart, I felt that day that Vernon Jackson was gonna use these clippers on his kid. All right. So she's like, yeah, like, I'm like, all right. So I do the scissors where the case is, and then one thing I do, I just, I just, I distracted him, right? You know what I'm saying? I think he said he let me use the trimmers to keep him around his neck. So, and I told her, you can't keep letting him do this. You can't keep letting him get it because if you give him out, he's going to take it. When parents give their kids out, as they
Yep.
should. Why wouldn't you?
Yep.
So I'm like, no. So I'm like, so I started doing it, and I started using it. I put the clippers on his head, right? Let's put it on his head.
Mhm.
They were going. But could be at the beginning of the haircut, he could jump out the
Yeah.
chair, gone. But at that time, I did it, and I put it in. I look in the mirror, and he looked in the mirror at the same time like this too. I said, see, it's okay, it's okay. And he felt so. I think he felt embarrassed the fact that he got tricked into getting it done. He got a little attitude, and I told his mom, I said, I told you, and that was that. So yeah. So to the point, there's just to like, yo, like, no, quit and because listen, you give parents too often the time give their kids outs in
Yep.
terms of in their growth. You can't stop their growth.
Yep.
You gotta let them. Yeah, like no, like yes, they're naturally afraid, but you are the same. You are the net. You're not gonna let anything happen to them.
Yep.
Okay, so therefore, all right, in a controlled place, let's increase your capacity. All right, and then we go from there. Jeff.
You know, I was going to comment on this. You guys talked about it, but I watched one of the videos, and I think it's the one you're talking about, where you had this balance of, look, I understand your sensitivities, and this is real, and I am going to be sensitive to that. But at the same time, I'm not going to let you run all over this as if you don't have the ability to sit down and us work on this together. It's a
Mm-hmm.
really difficult a thing with kids with special needs is to hit the I understand and I'm sensitive where I need to be, but hard, and I'm gonna hold you to what you're capable of on the other end.
Mhm.
And you did a great
Mm-hmm.
job of that.
So what are your books
So
like? Is it if people were looking to book an appointment with you, are you like weeks out, months out? How far in advance are they looking to book an appointment with you? And especially if it's a first time visit.
yeah, if they go to the site, probably I have people that have been booked since like last October, like that. I just started seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if they texted me and I had time to get their child, they're like, "Hey, just come in for a visit, do a walkthrough, so I can see them," type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I can do it right there on the spot, I'll do it. I just
Okay.
like, oh, hey, like, hey, how you doing? Give me a hug. Okay, great. You know what I'm saying? They're like,
What's going
they're
on?
sitting there.
I wasn't expecting that yet.
I'm like, cool, here you go. Like, that happened? Like, yeah. Like, they're like, this never happened before. Like, oh, great. All right. Have a good day. You know what I'm saying? So for sure.
Anyway, so
I,
oh,
Mm.
I'll
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, no, no. You go. You go. You look like you had a good one
I
coming in.
just was, well, I was going to switch gears a little bit. I
Okay.
had no idea you were an author. Sounds like you are
Yeah.
like the doctor of love.
I want to get your book so she understands me better after reading that. So I mean, reading the title
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, yeah. So I tell people like it's for the woman who is looking to understand, and for the man who is looking to articulate, right? Because I think that as men we are we are painted to women to almost not be able to be human and to have our feelings have and we're all and we have the pressure of not just fixing their problems but everyone else's problems
Mhm.
and our own problems and time and then but we never been no one we never been taught how to manage that stuff. And so, where then you take the fact that I call it our heart story. Every person has a heart story. The heart story is like all your experiences that add up to how add up to your outlook of how you view relationships, how you view people, X, Y, and Z. And if you haven't healed from those areas, how it really affects how you engage with people. So a lot of times with women, dudes as well. Let's be very clear, but when it comes to relationship, women feel that sense that women feel like they heal faster because you're able to get over stuff faster, right? A lot of times,
Mhm.
but really not the case. What happens is really you just got far enough away from ground zero. You learn how to carry the weight of it, so it doesn't bother you the same. That's why it comes back as a trigger in a conversation when someone says something that wasn't how you took it,
Mhm.
and the next thing you know, you're really reacting to what you felt and haven't healed from back then.
Mhm.
When it comes to planting, when it comes to flowers, right? When you want a flower, you want a plant to grow. Do you give it what it needs, or do you give it what you want to give it? You give it what it needs,
Right.
and if you don't give it what it needs, what happens? It
It
dies.
dies. Right.
So why don't we do the same thing with people?
And the interesting, if you're using like the flower or plant analogy, is that not every plant needs the same thing to survive, right? So like some
Exactly.
plants only need to be watered once a week, some plants maybe every day. And some plants, like there's even been studies where when you talk to the plant and you say positive things to it, it'll like grow and flourish bigger and brighter. So if you're using the
Yes.
flower analogy, I mean, people are kind of the same, right? Not every woman or man is the same. And so when you're in a relationship, you can't treat them the same as maybe your previous relationship because they're not going to react the same.
So
Devin will always say to
Ex-
me, Kim, I'm not a mind reader because I forget. Like, I'm like, you should
Yes.
just know. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you. You
Exactly.
should just know.
Exactly. Yes, you should have to tell him. And that's the problem we have right now in
Yeah, so
America.
that's what he says. He's like,
Okay.
Kim, just tell me. Like, if you wanted me to take the trash out and I didn't get it done, like, rather than being mad at me, why don't you just say, hey, will you take the trash out? Rather than like just assuming that I was reading your mind that you wanted me to take the trash out at that second. Well, it's interesting that you're talking about this because I don't know how many times in my life I've I have come up with a narrative in my head of what I feel like is
hmm
is reality. No one has told me that they feel this way. Nobody has told me that they're thinking this. And I will start to like make assumptions and I'll even talk to him and be like, this is what I think is happening. And he's like, Kim, I feel like you've just like kind of like made up that in your head. Nobody's told you that they're.
most of our problems are from conversations we've never had.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Because
reality,
I've
Yeah.
made up these conversations of how I think that he feels or what he thinks about something or what my friends think or feel about something without actually knowing for a fact that they think that or feel that way. So that must be common with women. That's what I'm saying because you're
Yo,
talking about this and I'm like,
yes.
I feel like that's something that I
Yes.
actually do a lot.
Yes. And listen, and if he does that to you, you're going to throw a conniption. You're like, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be hella high
I
water.
know these
And
poor
so,
men in
and
our
so,
lives, the things that they have to put up
yeah,
with.
Vernon,
Yeah.
Vernon, we're talking about this book. How can people get it? Is it still available?
Yes, my first book is on Amazon. But my second book, which is like really like the first book, on another level. You can go to authorvernonjackson.com.
Okay, great.
It's been
Yeah.
so much fun talking to you today and learning about all the different
Mm,
creative aspects of your life and getting to know you a little bit more as an individual than just, the social media presence that you have.
And the
mm,
man that's changed our
mm.
lives, getting to know you a little more on a personal level.
Yes. So thank you. You really have changed our lives with our haircuts with Jack. And I know that I've told you that a million times. I'll never get over
No.
like being able to thank you for that because it really has been life changing for us.
Vernon, people want
Uh,
to learn more about you. How can they get a hold of you? Your Instagram, the website. Just say it one more time for them all.
yeah. So the website for my book, you go to authorvernonjackson.com. Uh, for the gifted event, learning whether you want to sponsor a haircut, make a contribution, X, Y, and Z, book a haircut, visit thegiftedevent.com. If you're on social media, if you're on Instagram or on YouTube, look up the best, the number one, in the word period, the best one period. And on TikTok, you can find the page at the Gifted Event Official.
Okay.
Great.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here, but do you have any final thoughts?
I would just say, uh, well, Kim, you know what I'm saying? Just slow down. Okay? Just slow down. You know what I'm saying? Dev, you know what I'm saying? Receive the water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a, it's a everybody else, be present and receive the gift of life, you know?
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate all that you're sharing, all that you're doing on social media, and the way that you are raising awareness for these kids that you work with and their families. And keep
Mm.
doing it. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Vernon.
Hey, no problem. And yeah, actually keep this up. Y'all just be the same frame all the time.
You
You know
know
what I'm
what?
saying?
Maybe we should.
I know. Maybe
Make,
we're overcomplicating
Yeah,
it
it too
makes us
much.
look like we're in love, and we, you know.
yeah, yeah. Mwah, mm, mm.